Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha. Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 23rd of August 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma Bhagavan residing in the heart of every single being. We are looking at the connection between Ojas, O-J-A-S, Ojas and Bhakti. Ojas is what? What is Ojas? We've been looking at this last 2 days or so. We'll continue for a few more days. It's a very interesting angle to understand and to further evolve into Prema Bhakti, Prem Lakshana Bhakti. So first of all, Ojas is a concept from Ayurveda. That's where it is. It's the science of life. Ayurveda is called science of life. That is where this concept originated. And it basically means vital life essence. It's a very interesting word. This word is in the Gita also. It's our essence of life, essence of the energy, the Shakti that is inside of us. It is the ultimate subtle substrate supporting bodily coherence, immunity and consciousness. Subtle substrate. Let's look at some examples to understand this point. We know that we obviously eat food 3 times a day, sometimes more. Generally we eat considerable amount of food throughout our whole life. Food gets transformed into our body. It also gets transformed into brain cells, into neural cells, neural connections. And our mind is also having a lot of energy. So this refinement further into what is called the vital essence, vitality. That vitality is the subtle energy that is the foundation of the body, the mind, the senses, everything. It is the one subtle energy that is really coming from God through the sun and then coming into our body as our body. That is the link actually. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Para Ojas and Apara Ojas. What is Para Ojas? This is the heart as the psycho-spiritual center. It is the development of the best quality of the mind. For example, when we say we want quality products, we go to stores, let's say, high quality stores are there. Isn't it so? Because of the experience they provide. Okay, that is there, no doubt. We can also say we want very healthy body. Yes. We don't usually use the word quality for that, but you could if you wanted to. That's fine. We can say we want a very healthy body. But we also want, like a really best functioning body. Okay, fine. What about the mind? Antakarana, our inner world. The quality of the mind is what we are looking at here. That the quality is based on Ojas. It is based on the kind of energy that is present internally within us. It's a very fascinating concept, because inside our heart, inside our mind is a lot of activity going on. Tremendous amount of activity. But is that activity going on based on the flow of bhakti? So Ojas and bhakti, they are together always. The more bhakti increases, bhakti is the highest quality of bhav or emotion, and that is Shri Radha, right? So Radhika ji or Radha Rani, she is the embodiment of the highest love, the highest bhakti. Now, as we progress on this path, those of us who have taken the path of devotion, that we want to be in a devotional connection with Bhagavan, this is where Ojas Shakti absolutely comes into the picture. Because the Ojas Shakti is where there is the mind-spirit nexus, where the Atman and the mind interface. the mind, antakarana, mind meaning antakarana, or another way to put that, thoughts, emotions, memories, desires, and energy. TEMDE. Those of you who are familiar with our Angel Wing program, the TEMDE, these 5, that is our mind. So the mind and the Atma, there is a connection between the two. There's a nexus. So in Ayurvedic psychology, Hriday, what is called the heart of the individual, is not a mere pump, but a mind-spirit nexus. See the word nexus. Nexus means it's a binding connection. It's a bridge. Mind and spirit. Spirit meaning Atma. Mind meaning Antakarana. Mind-spirit nexus, where the manas, the mental faculty, and the Atma interface. So locating para ojas here conveys something very interesting, that the heart holds this integrity. Hamari jo bhavna hai, the bhavna we have, the emotions we have, the spiritual heart, the emotional heart, the human heart, it is holding integrity. That is the nexus between the Atma and the mind. How amazing is this? How wonderful is it? So if we damage that nexus through anger, greed, negativity, things like that, if we damage that nexus, then there's going to be more and more entrapment inside Maya. Right? So this imagery aligns with devotional literature, in which the heart is the shrine of bhakti. It is the bearer of Shraddha and the crucible where egoic contractions dissolve. Let's understand that point very carefully. In the literature, the scriptures that are describing bhakti, there's quite a few number of scriptures that describe bhakti. There is this notion that our heart, the human heart, it is the shrine, meaning it is the temple. हमारा हृदय जो है वो भगवान का एक मंदिर बन जाए. See this point and keep attention on this point. We can all keep attention on this point, that the heart, our heart, becomes, or it evolves into the temple of God. Mana mandir, Hriday mandir. This is the goal. Right? So the heart is the shrine of bhakti. The shrine of bhakti. So for example, when we go to any mandir, when there is the Vigraha, Radha and Krishna, there is always devotion performed there. Nothing else is done. Arati is done, pujan is done, mantras are done. For all the deities in Hindu temples, that's how it's done. That is called shrine. So similarly, our heart becomes a shrine. Shrine is an English word, of course. It becomes a mandir. Divya sannidhi, divya tattva, wo jo hai, Bhagwan ka. It is a shrine where bhakti takes place. Where does bhakti take place? Inside the heart. Slowly, carefully. It's not like some stimulative one snap of the finger experience. It takes time to develop this. So the heart is also the bearer of Shraddha. Bearer meaning the holder, the one who actually develops Shraddha. That extraordinary faith is also inside the heart. And the third point, it is the crucible where egoic contractions dissolve. Egoic contraction is what? Our ahankar limits our life. We become afraid, we become fearful, we become defensive, all this thing happens. This is called egoic contraction. Please understand these words very carefully. Once we understand them and we can then implement what we need to implement, we can evolve beautifully in bhakti by krupa. Bhagwan ki krupa se ye hota hai, as long as our direction is correct and our intention is correct, our understanding is correct, then the alignment happens, or Bhagwan ke saath the connection happens very beautifully. So 3 points I'm mentioning right now, be very, very clear. The first point is what? that the heart, meaning the antakarana, but the emotional heart, it is the nexus. And this is Ayurveda psychology. It is a nexus of what? The mind-spirit nexus. That is the connection. That is why we need to be very, very cautious about and to be very aware about the quality of our emotions. So thoughts and emotions, cognition, emotion, they're always connected. If we improve the quality of our bhav, of our emotions, our thoughts will automatically get better. Isn't that so? Sometimes people say, I want to change my thinking, but I don't want to change my feeling. Well, will that work? No, it won't work like that way. One has to change the feeling first. Then the thinking will change. You see the difference. If someone starts arguing with any of us and we have a very steady response, very compassionate, our feelings are not getting disturbed, then that means we're on the right track. Man apman mein ekata, sukha dukha mein samabhav. Yeah, Muktanand ji कहते हैं, Muktanand Swami, मान अपमान में एकता. होता है ऐसा जीवन में? Is it happen that way? Samatva. जो भी, doesn't mean we're careless to what people are saying. But we don't want internal disturbance because our goal is to develop the heart, develop the ojas, which is a tejas, ojas and tejas. Ojas and tejas. Tejas meaning this divine light, teja. And ojas is divine energy, divya energy. So divya shakti and divya prakash. We can translate that way. We want that. Who doesn't want that? Why wouldn't we want that? It's an interesting question. Most people don't know about it. That's why they don't want it. They don't know what it is. That our life can be so fantastic when bhakti actually opens up. Because when bhakti begins to open towards Paramatma, ojas automatically develops. Tejas automatically develops. Divya tej. Divyata, Divya Bhav opens up. That is Radhika ji. So there are stages, right? There are stages where the heart, the impurities, ashuddhata sab nikal jati hai. That there's no need to keep talking about that because we've already talked about that a lot. The antar shatru and the shadripu and all those sab kachra. The trash. That is the viveka. Separate it out. That is absolutely the first step. If we don't take that first step, the additional steps cannot be taken. The development won't happen. So the very first step in sadhana, in bhakti, in prarthana, in Ishtadevata connection, everything, Guru Seva, everything, scriptural reading, is to be very clear, crystal clear, to remove the impurities. Just like when we are drinking water. We don't want water that has dirt and mud and bacteria and all kinds of worms and terrible things. Can you imagine that? Somebody serves us a glass of water with all this trash inside of there? Ye sab kya hai? It's not the water's fault. All that doesn't belong there. You could not even look at that. He said, to throw this thing out. Ye kya hai? What is this? You see? But that's why the filtration process is there. The water that comes out of the tap at our homes, it is filtered. Actually, the water that goes, from everywhere, from all sources, it goes into one big filtration area. And all the impurities are filtered out. The water is treated. Then it becomes drinkable. The water, though, shuddha hi hai. But the impurities have to be removed. Similarly, through our senses, this is an analogy, through our senses, there is the stimuli that is coming inside, and then there is the holding of all of the experiences inside the antakarana. So the antakarana, how is going to be purified? It's very simple, it's very logical, anybody can understand this. We have to be careful what we're putting inside there, inside the antakarana. Just like when there is the reservoir of purified water, more purified water can go in there, but you don't put impure water inside there, right? Isn't that so? Similarly, when to purify the antakarana, there are two major steps. अंतकरण शुद्धिकरण कैसे होता है? पंच ज्ञान इंद्रिय, we have to have a boundary within which we place the five indriyas. What are the five indriyas? Eyes, ears, nose, touch, and sense of touch, and tongue. Iski ek boundary. People say, I don't want to follow any boundaries, I don't want to have... Then the antakarana is not going to get purified. Sorry. By placing a boundary of experience and interaction, that boundary is the purifier. It is the purifying unit. It's like you know how you have the Brita filter? You have those Brita water filters, right? You can buy the filters, and then there's you put the water inside that jug or whatever it's called, and then it slowly goes through, the water goes through the filter, and the filter captures all the impurities, and then the water is filtered. The filtered water comes out. Similarly, by placing the boundaries for the five senses, that filters the experience coming inside the mind. Please understand this point. Ek prarthana hai based on Vachanamrut, Garada Pratham 18. Maharaj is Shriji Maharaj, Swaminarayan Bhagwan. He is absolutely emphatic on this point. He says, unless we do this, mukti hoti nahi. If you disagree with it, you can disagree with him and do analysis on that. That's fine. I have no qualms with that. Some people may want to disagree. Theek hai, koi baat nahi. You know, and then let me know. I would love to have a conversation. Not that I'm trying to promote something fanatically, but ek science hai. There's a science behind it, and there's a very simple logic behind it. Very simple logic. You know, garbage in, garbage out. Bhakti in, bhakti out. That's the way it's going to be. Jaisa sang, vaisa rang. Jevu an, evu man. It's a very simple concept. Anybody can understand this. We may understand it, but to live according to that is a whole different ballgame. ऐसे हम जी सकते? How can Sachin live with a boundary of the senses? Now let's understand this even more clearly. Take the eyes. Aakh. Aakh no vivek. This is called viveka. What should I be seeing? Kya dekhna, kya nahi dekhna? If I'm just letting my eyes run amok, putting anything and everything through my eyes, which is going to be inside the brain, inside the mind, my mind will become a jungle. Isme vivek nahi rakhenge, so our antakarana, the internal mechanism of the mind, will never develop purity or ojas shakti jaisi honi chahiye wo nahi hoti. It's all mixed. That's why there are so many mental health problems. That's why there are so many difficulties inside the internal world. People are taking medicines and medicines. Good percentage of the medicines dispensed inside the pharmacy are psychiatric medicines, particularly in the Western world. What is the cause of this? Panch Gnan Indriya ka ahar ashuddha hai. That is the absolute first cause. There may be other causes, no doubt. This is the basic cause. Kya dekhna, kya nahi dekhna. Sounds very simple, right? Well, okay, I understand. No, it's not so simple. We have to see that should I be watching this or not? What is going to happen inside my mind once I watch that? Interesting question. Hearing, same thing with the ears. Kya sunna? Kya taste karna? Kya khana, kya nahi khana? What to smell, what not to smell? What to touch, what not to touch? That is viveka of the five Gnan Indriyas, five senses. And without that, there cannot be mukti, there cannot be bhakti, there cannot be the purification of the mind. It's not possible. You know, why do we do every single day here 30 minutes, 40 minutes of bhajans and mantras and 2 aartis we do every day? Why we do all this thing? To purify, so that our senses get absorbed with that divine stimulation. Bhakti may ahar. In Gujarati we say, Bhagwan Sambandhi Ahar. Ahar doesn't just mean food, by the way. आँख का भी आहार है. Ahar means the stimuli coming inside the antakarana. Ears and eyes, these are the two big ones. Of course, food, of course, what we're taking in. It needs to be placed within a boundary. A boundary that is going to bring only that stimuli that is going to allow us to function in the world, do our duties and everything, and at the same time keep the antakarana shuddha. कर सकते? कौन करता है ये? Who's doing? There are people, no doubt. But this is the foundation. Now, when we are trying to evolve into Prema Bhakti, these are all the foundational steps. It begins here. Now, does that mean one is just sitting in a cave? No. We're living in the world, but there is a viveka. Vivek to hona hi chahiye. We don't put, like with food, if it's it's contaminated food. Sometimes you get all that contaminated food. It happens in the fridge. You put something in the fridge, you forgot it was there. It's sitting there for 3 weeks, and now it's all become moldy and green. I say, "Hey, sab kya? Take it and clean it out," and we clean the whole refrigerator. Isn't it so? We don't put contaminated food into our body, but we're putting contaminated contaminated stimuli from eyes, things that we're seeing. So all kinds of stuff that comes up, it is all contaminated. Lot of it. And that is going inside. Watch documentaries instead. Watch Curiosity Stream. There's beautiful, isme vivek nahi hoga, we will be lost. Watching those violent scenes, and isme itna abhi to itna this movies and shows that are created, they're causing so much damage to the human mind. It's incredible, because the mind doesn't know what to do with this. All that violence and gunshots and whatever it is, stabbings and horror movies, and it take all that thing and absolutely put a clear boundary. इसके साथ कुछ लेना देना नहीं. PG-13 movies and stuff, even they're also, they're having certain things. So one has to be very careful. Doesn't mean one is living in isolation. But remember one thing. Once we watch anything on from TV or listen to different, whatever it might be, it is recorded permanently. It cannot be removed. How are you going to remove that? So these are the two steps. Step number 1, keep the 5 senses within a boundary. And then the second step is the more internal step. That is the 9 forms of devotion. That is where the heart becomes connected with Bhagwan, and there is the link, the energies inside the mind, inside the heart, through Shraddha. They begin to connect with Paramatma. And so the more the mind is connected internally with Bhagwan through mantras, stotras, shastras, so many things, then the antakarana that has got impurities that came from the outside is now going to be purified from the inside. Antakarana shuddhi. Indriyon ki shuddhi, antakaran ki shuddhi. So now, from that shuddhi, then there is the development of para ojas. Yes. That para ojas is where now there is Shakti. It's a very purified energy where the heart becomes the shrine of Bhakti. That it's all been cleaned up. It's like if you want to have a temple being built. When a temple is being built, mandir is sab built ho gaya. Before the murti is placed in the sihasan, everything has to be cleaned, the sihasan has to be made, everything is done. And then finally the murti is placed. Murti you don't place the murti inside a place with trash and everything else. No. It has to be done in the very proper way. Then the Bhagwan ki murti rakhte hai, and then uski pratishtha hoti hai. Same thing happens inside our heart. We have to be ready to bring the murti of God inside. It is a way to think about this. And then it gets installed inside. भगवान की मूर्ति की प्रतिष्ठा अंतकरण में होती है. And when we do this, when this actually happens, this is where the egoic contractions dissolve. Egoic contraction. Egoic contraction is what? That there is so much focus through the ahankar just on our self-centered activity. I want to eat this and I want to go here and I want this I and me all the time. This is going on. This is called egoic contraction. वो निकल जाता है. Then so what kind of mind is this? It is a mind, it is a life and mind that is brimming with love. This is Radha. Radha is a mantra by itself. Radha, Radha, Radha. आप chant कर सकते. Beautiful mantra, very beautiful mantra. So the egoic contractions dissolve. Love flourishes, and the interaction with everybody, with everything, of course within those boundaries we mentioned, within those certain limits, but whatever the interaction may be, it is love that is interacting with all. Then that bhakti is manifesting, and of course there is more and more internal dynamic vritti. That is an internal fountain that is connected to Bhagwan. So it is the internal Manamandir. When the mind becomes Shuddha, now the readiness is there for the Paramatma to be installed. Bhagwan to hai hi already, but this is just a way to think about it. And then the vritti, Bhakta ki vritti Bhagwan ke saath link. It's a linkage. And in that linkage, there is the welfare of the world. There is seva for all. Linkage doesn't mean ignoring the world, ignoring the family, no, that's not what it means. We do our duties. We do our seva. Everything becomes seva. Understand, this is a very tricky thing to even talk about. How can that be? Even driving one's car from home to a grocery store, that act of driving from the home to the grocery store can be seva. Entering into the grocery store is like entering into the temple. Wo seva hai. All those divisions fall away. It becomes seva because one is not living in the egoic contractions. The egoic contractions dissolve. Because when you're going from one place to another activity, you're doing the activity as needed, but the antakarana is brimming. The connection internally with God is not lost. So now you go into Acme. Have you ever tried this? Try it sometime. Go to the grocery store and sit in the parking lot for 10-15 minutes. Bhajan kirtan karna. Krishna ka naam lena. Radha ji ka naam lena. For half an hour. And then internally bring oneself into that shraddha. That this is, yes, there's a grocery store. Yes, I'm going to take the fruits, buy whatever. I'm going into the mandir. Bhagwan ka mandir mein main ja raha hu. Have you tried this ever? Has anybody ever thought about going to Acme as going to the Krishna temple? Try it and see. Now, that is Adhyatma. That is the real Adhyatma. How can that be? How does that work? Well, you enter, and with that, it's a bhav, right? It is the Man Mandir. This is the point of these points. It is para ojas. So when you go inside there is so much wisdom that comes, that there's gratitude that comes, that thousands of people were involved who you cannot see, that were involved in bringing this food to us. Is there gratitude? See, most people are just going with, I have $200 with me, I'm going to pay for this, I'm going to pay for it, so I get it, it's an exchange. It's the ahankar. Aur kuch nahi hai isme. Business transactions are all based on ahankar only. Koi seva bhav nahi. Nobody says I'm doing seva. Yes, you need to have that transaction functionally. Antakaran mein gratitude honi chahiye. How many people have been involved in bringing this rice and this wheat and this bread? Thousands maybe. So many people in the chain are involved, including all the employees in the store. With that gratitude bhav, to wish well for them all. Do we do that? This is bhakti. Bhakti is not simply taking a mala and chanting the names of God. Yeah, that is. Wo to hai hi. But this is where what the Gita is teaching us. Gita is teaching us that bhakti is manifest everywhere, in every situation, in every turn of life. In every turn of life, that bhakti manifests. So when we enter into the store, that attitude is so profound. Kriya, that shopping for 25 items and you go and buy the things, you put in your cart. Every action is in alignment with this verse in the Gita. Om Brahma Rapadam Brahmahavira Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. It aligns. Every kriya is divya. वो दिव्य क्रिया बन जाती है. Shopping for apples and fruits and picking up, when we're doing that activity, that is nirgun kriya, nirbandha kriya, divya kriya, and that is the manifestation of love and affection and appreciation for thousands of people who you have not seen. That is Shri Radha. Did you ever think about this? You ever think about this? Going with a shopping cart, picking up apples and bananas and fruits and vegetables and whatever other items, and saying that this is Radhika Ji's Krupa, that Radha Ji is present in this, that this is love. Kitni adbhut baat hai ye. And one of the best ways to do this, if you're by yourself, you're not talking to anybody, put some headphones on and Bhagwan ka bhajan sunna. It's so nice to do. Is your half an hour is no longer an ahankar sthiti. I want this and I want that. I want I and me and this and that. Yeah, you need that, no doubt. But we live through vasana. Live through bhakti. Yes, body needs food, water, clothing, shelter. It needs whatever it needs. It's okay. But when we live through vasana, our mind is jumping. Oh, I like this thing. I like this. I don't like this thing. Most people in life are living in this life as a slave of vasana. S-O-V is a new term there. Slave of vasana. That's it. Vasana ka gulam. Slave of vasana. Not to live that way. Not to live as a slave of vasana. To live as a bhakta of Bhagwan. कितनी अद्भुत बात है. कितना फर्क है इसमें. जमीन आसमान का फर्क है. And this is, the destination of reaching Brahmic state, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha. वहां पहुंचना है, ब्रह्म भाव में जाना है, परब्रह्म का साक्षात्कार करना. You want to do all this thing? Sachin is only telling for Sachin. Then this attitude, this vision, this is what Bhagwan Krishna Paramatma says, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra. See me everywhere. What does that mean, see me everywhere? It is seeing the divine flow of the God's power, that everybody is a form of Paramatma, has God within them, is living because of that. Remove that aham and mamatva towards others. Yeah, we interact in the usual way, but jaisi drishti vaisi srishti. In Gujarati we say in satsang, right? Jevi drashti evi srishti. You will not find fault with, if something is not there. Some people get really angry. Have you seen that, standing in line? There's a big line. They're so frustrated. I have to now stand. Their facial layer agitated, and just calm down, for God's sake. Just take it easy. Don't get so upset about things, small things. Even the people working in the stores, the cashiers, they have to smile and be cordial because that is a job. But when a person is doing a job as a seva, their dimension is different, and you see the ananda that is there. So there are two levels. You recognize the sansar continues in its way, but there is a vision that pierces through the egoic contractions, and that vision that pierces through that is called divya bhav, divya drishti, divya buddhi. And to reach that point, to reach that kind of vision, to open that dimension, the antakarana needs to be purified. Otherwise that vision doesn't open up. And that is called Guru Krupa. Guru Krupa is this from the inside. Otherwise it's all external stuff. It's okay. It has to lead to this. Alright, let's stop here for now. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaya Viche Om Glom Hum Klim Jum Saha Jwalaye Jwalaye Jwala Jwala Prajwala Prajwala Aim Rim Klim Chamundaya Viche Jwala Hum Sam Lam Ksham Phat Swaha Durge Durge Rakshini Tha Tha Swaha Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu Om Hrim Swaha.